Subscribe. Ah, you have even put realize.
restaurant safe for this 2 hours that will be take.
Okay, we're on you now.
Okay.
Yes.
Hello, beautiful people. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the unveiling and the official launch of Eniobanke, Crowned in Waiting, Completing Him. My name is Patricia Adekoya, and I'm elated to be doing this with you today. Doing this with you, with those of us in the room, and with you, our audiences online. And I know that you're joining us from different parts of Nigeria, different parts of the world. And I say once again, you are welcome to this launch. First, I would like to apologize for the delay in starting this live launch. We had some issues, but thankfully we are, live currently. Please accept our apologies, and let's just get things started quickly. Okay, so I believe that we are getting a number of people joining us currently, and we're getting a lot of people joining us currently. So if you are in the comments, or if you are currently on YouTube with us, you're currently on Instagram with us, I would like to see your excitement, about this launch with your comments. You can drop us, or you could drop your favorite emoji in the comment section right now. Let's see your excitement. Let's see how elated and delighted you are to be connecting with us this afternoon. Keep it coming, guys. Drop your favorite comments, your favorite emoji, celebrating this moment that we're about to begin. You could as well go ahead to tell us where you are connecting from, what part of Nigeria you are connecting from, what part of the world you're connecting from as well. Let's celebrate you, and appreciate you for joining this live session with us today. Thank you, and you're welcome once again. Now, today is not just another weekend, it's not just another book launch. It's about unveiling a journey. It's about telling a story, or the inspiration behind a story that eventually many of us would see ourselves in. Now, we are at the launch of Eniobanke, Crowned in Waiting, Complete a Name. Now, this is a story that showcases the journey of, from discomfort, or from comfort to discomfort, from fear to obedience, from pain to praise. Now, and this story, by the time our author starts speaking, we would see how it's something that a lot of us can relate to at the end of the day. So we know that there are a lot of times we've had seasons, we've had moments where it seems like we are just stuck, we are waiting. It seems that God has said a couple of things to us and we are not seeing them yet. Now, I believe that we would learn lessons regarding that subject today as we have the conversations with our author. Now, just to talk about a bit about the book, before our author speaks as well. Eniobanke is a story, or it's a book that came from a story or came from an experience. Let me put it that way. It came from a place of waiting. Let me put it that way as well. From nights where you felt like fate was the only thing that you could hold on to, and from moments when you felt like God wasn't saying anything, you were not seeing anything, things weren't just moving, and the results thereafter. So I want you to get comfortable. I want you to get your art ready. I want you to get your notepad, or whatever it is that you would be using to take notes today, and understand that it's beyond a book launch. It's also a time to learn. Okay, so get ready. Share the link to as many of your followers, your contact list that you can. Tell them to be a part of this, as we kickstart fully. Okay, so just to kickstart the launch today, we understand that behind this launch is someone that God has used to pen down this story, to pen down this book. And this moment would not be complete without the woman whose arts and hands have brought this to life, has brought this book, this launch to life. The woman whose story bathed the message of waiting and wholeness. And I'm talking about someone who is a visionary. I'm talking about someone who is a wellness advocate. She's a storyteller as well, a woman of faith, and honestly, a very bright mind that you would come across. Ladies and gentlemen, from wherever you are connecting, I want you to, with your show of emojis, appreciate and celebrate the author of Eniobanke, Anuoluwapo Somoye.
Hi guys, thank you so much for joining, and thank you Patricia for the warm lifting. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. My name is Anuoluwapo Somoye, and yes, I recently wrote a book titled Eniobanke.
Thank you, Anu. You're welcome on board. First, I would like to say congratulations. I mean, you're doing such an amazing work, and it must have taken a lot, to even get here, to decide that the world needs to know about this book or what is written in this book. So, congratulations once again. Okay, so I mean, I know you personally, and I've seen your records over the years. Now, seeing how much must have led to the launch of this book, and a lot of convictions must have led to you putting out this book for the world to see. So I want you to tell us first what inspired you to write Eniobanke in the first place. What was that spark moment when you decided that you had to put this out for the world to see?
Okay. So the name Eniobanke in 2023, my friend and I, we attended a program, right? And the only thing I got from that program was a lady passed. We were praying. A lady walked past, and she was wearing a mesh shirt that had Eniobanke. And that day, God was like, "That's your name. Your name is Eniobanke, the one that I care for." In English, it means the one that the king cares for. So at that period of my life, I was going through a phase. I was entering another waiting season, right? And that was the word that I needed for that season. And then I started journaling. In fact, I was meant to write a book and release the book in October 2023 then, but I could not. So it felt like there was no way I could release that book. I remember then, I think I shared with Patricia earlier this morning, how that I invited some of my friends in November. We wore white and we had a love feast. That was what should have happened in the when I was writing the book. Then 2025 came, because usually if I'm going to celebrate my birthday, I usually have to have a conversation with God. What are we doing this year and all? And God reminded me that you were meant to write a book in 2023. You did not write it. So I went to check my 2023 notes, and I saw that, oh yes, I was actually meant to write a book. And then I said, oh, so the name is Eniobanke. And the way God works, He will just give you a very short packaging. Oh, this is what you're meant to do. Now has to take you time for you to flesh it out. So I was in that phase in June, and I started documenting, and the Spirit was like, okay, share a story about your personal journey. And I was asking myself, why am I writing a book again? Because I'd written a book before that I had launched, and I didn't see myself writing a book this year at some point. So what inspired this book, right, was people had been reaching out to me about, oh, God is telling them to step out into something. So there were a lot of confirmations everywhere, and it just made me realize that yes, I needed to write this book to encourage people, letting them know that even in the waiting season, you're not alone. Even when it feels like God has given you a promise and you have not seen it, you're not alone in the journey. And yes, so that is what is written in Eniobanke. It's a personal journey, and I really hope that as many that will get this book would be blessed. Thank you, Patricia.
Definitely they will be blessed. Okay, so I know that you mentioned something specific about it's being birthed from a waiting season. And interestingly, a part of the title of the book talks or says, crowned in waiting, complete in Him. That sounds like a very deep phrase, with very deep sentence, and it sounds like something that means so much to you, not something that you just casually put on a book, and something that you've personally experienced. So what does that phrase mean to you? What would you say or led to you having that phrase as part of the title of this book?
Okay, so I'll start with crowned in waiting, and I would make reference to James 1 verse 12 that says that blessed is the one. So from NIV translation, blessed is the one who perseveres under trial, because having stood the test, that person will receive the crown of life that the Lord has promised to those who love Him. So I had gone, because there's a particular season where you feel like God is wasting too much time. Let me help God, and you decide to move. You find out that you are going back in circles. So for me, crowned in waiting just made me, the end of waiting is the fact that you receive the crown of life, the fact that you receive that, yes, God has, it feels like an will I say an award. God has said, yes, good and faithful servant, thank you for waiting. So most of the times when we are in a waiting season, when God has given us a promise, it might not, the result of being in that waiting season might not just be that you are going to get what you have been looking for. Maybe yours was probably a job, or yours was maybe you're probably waiting for a child, or looking at relocating. The result is that you persevered in the waiting season, and you waited on God. That is the crown. That is the reward. That the reward came from staying and waiting and believing in God. So that's the part of crowned in waiting. Then complete in Him will come from Colossians chapter 2 verse 10. In Christ you have been brought into fullness. He is the head over powers and authority. So I was able to find being complete in Him, right? I went from, in chapter 1 of this book, I wrote how I went from comfort to discomfort. I had gotten this, I had prayed so much to get this dream job. It was paying well, 6 figures. I was like, okay, finally, after so much prayers, this is it. And then for a while I enjoyed that phase. And then God pulled me out of it. Right? It was an instruction to resign and all of that. And even there were a lot of signs that came, very dramatic signs of how I entered one chance, and it was just so clear that I needed to leave that job, right? And then I was able to find out that to be complete in Him means that you're not relying on, oh, my salary. You're not relying on something that you've kept that is waiting for you, that no matter what happens I have plan B. Through this season I relied solely on God. Like, God definitely sent the gift of men, but I saw that God was my source. So that is what God will give you when it's like you are complete in Him. You do not have any, there's nothing, there is no pillar that is holding you to say yes. But so that's the major reason why I titled that phrase, crowned in waiting, complete in Him. Yeah.
Well, interestingly, like, it's something I can relate to. But we'll come back to, there was something you mentioned about people having to struggle when God tells you to do something and all that. So we'll come back to that. But putting this all together, and I know that this book contains your personal story. Were there any fears or hesitation that you had in mind putting this out? Okay, can we hear?
Actually, there were a lot of things. I felt like I was doing too much because I've just written a book before. So this year I told myself I was going to focus solely on my business. I wasn't going on food. I wasn't going to do anything aside that. Then the nudging came in June, and I just kept pushing it. So I felt I was too much. That was the fear that came with it, that, oh, you are doing too much. Meanwhile, so God now reminded me of the fact that if I have asked you to do something, you do not need, like my GO would say, once the voice of God is what you should listen to, every other voice is a noise. As long as God has said, do this is what I want you to do in this season, and you are very clear on, oh, this is the blueprint, you should go ahead and do it, people will eventually adjust. So I had to go from a place of being afraid to actually doing it and saying, okay, yes, God, I'm doing it. And God was saying, yes, I'm backing you up, keep going, right? So I had to get out of that, the phrase, what will people say? It's just a myth. It's not, and it will prevent you from doing what God actually wants you to do. Yes, so.
Thank you for taking that bold step and obeying God's instruction, because I know that this book would definitely be a great blessing to the lives of many, because I'm currently being blessed. And if you're currently being blessed online, please let's see it in the comment section. Let's see what you've taken so far, from our conversations. The subject of the conversation today, a lot of things that we'll speak about today is going to be about the waiting process, identity and obedience as well. And I know that if you are watching currently, you could be someone who is currently in that waiting season. You're waiting for an answer, like Anu said, you're waiting for different things, for either relocation, marriage, you're trusting God for a child, whatever it is that it may be, a promise that God has given you, you are waiting. I want you to lean in. I want you to still stay tuned, because as we keep on the conversations, there is so much more for you to take out. Another question I would ask you, Anu, is what would you say to someone who is currently struggling with God's silence, with let me just say silence, basically. You're not hearing anything. God has told you to do something, but it's not even looking like it. You can't see the promise, basically. Currently, what would you say to someone who feels that fear, let me put it that way, of okay. And to be very honest, and I said I can relate to your story, to be honest, because I've been in that situation, or recently as well. And there is always that fear, okay, what if nobody helps me? What if I get stranded? What would you say to someone in that kind of situation?
What would I say? So I'll share a personal story, and I just want us to take what is yours from it. So when I got the instruction to resign, I had to pray and ask God that, okay, I'm resigning to where? To what? What am I meant? Because one thing God will do is God will prepare you. It's now left for you to ask God questions. So I kept asking questions. And sometimes it feels like when God has said some things, He wants you to do it, but because of fear, your yes might be blocked to it. So I felt like God was silent because I was scared. I felt like so it looked like God was not speaking. So I had to align and say, okay, God, I fully surrender to this. Whatever is going to happen, I know that you own my life. You're going to be with me. So immediately I fully surrendered. I said, okay, God, so what are we going to do? And then I started getting, oh, okay, this is what you should do. Apply to this place, do this, do that. And I heard God clearly regarding that. Sometimes we might tune our ears out, not to hear what God is saying, because there's something that we want to hear, but God is not saying that thing. And other times it might be that you need to tune out the noise. So it's like we are all in a vehicle, and the noise of the radio is very loud, and you're probably with your AirPods or earpiece. What you need to do is tune the noise down. So most of the time you might need to take a retreat, or you may need to look for a very serene place to hear to actually seek the face of God and say, okay, God, what are you saying? What do you want me to do? And another thing you can also do if you're not hearing God clearly is you're probably comparing your season to somebody's harvest season. So because maybe somebody has been waiting for a while, you did not see that waiting season, and you're seeing that, oh, this person is now doing so well. You're now comparing your own current pruning season or your own sprouting season to that person. You will not see what God is doing at work in your life in that phase. Maybe God is saying, oh, I need you to connect to this. I need you to water what you've planted, or you will not hear that part clearly. So I feel like those things it helps you hear God clearly, if I answer that.
Thank you. Just to put out there that, thank you so much, Anu, that we are not just going to be blessed by Anu's story today. We also have a guest speaker who will be coming up on board shortly. But before he comes up on board, I have another question that just came from what you just said.
Okay.
And the question is, I know that it's one thing to be aligned. It's one thing to, in this kind of seasons, it's one thing to say, oh, to hear the first part. God told you to do something, the first part. But I know that there are always several instructions after, and it could also be a struggle as well to carry out those instructions. Because personally, when I find myself in waiting seasons and I'm like, okay, God, you told me to do this, I always want to ask for the grace to actually now do what I'm supposed to do. So God has given you a promise. God has given you, this is what you are going to become, let's put it that way. But there are actions that you need to take. What would you say, or what can you say about that, in terms of taking actions, taking the right actions, just to get into that promise, that God has given you?
Okay, so I think our generation particularly, we're always in a hurry, right? We're always in a hurry to prove a point. And I think one thing God really helped me to do in this season is to learn to wait and write. That God gave you an idea or a vision. Like I said before, I thought I was going to release the book in 2023, but it took a while. I needed to go through a process. So when God gives you something, when he gives you a promise, you need to, it's now left for you to sit and wait. We do not like to sit and wait and say, okay, God, what are you saying? Even if it's taking time, I'm like, God, how far? You are not saying anything about this thing. Sometimes you just need to sit still and ask God that, okay, how are we going to go about it? What am I meant to do in this season? Even if in that season God is saying wait, that is what he wants you to do. He wants you to wait in that season. If it means that he wants you to just, I think when I first resigned and I thought that, okay, after 3 months I was going to get another job, or this was going to happen, and it did not happen. I was not like, God, how far? But this was what you asked me to do. Why? What's going on? And God said, I just wanted your attention. I wanted you to see me in this season. I wanted you to see that I'm your source. So I had to go through those periods, the months. I had to go through that process of understanding who God is. I found myself in God, like another dimension of myself in God. And also, I also remember that God was asking me to take some courses, apply for some things, right? 2 months prior before I eventually resigned, I saw something coming up in the agricultural space that I needed to apply for, but I discarded it, and I didn't know that I was going to get qualified to attend it. And it just really made sense that, imagine if I did not do it, I would not have known that there was an opportunity there for me. So most of the time you just need to allow God hold your hand step by step. There's no need to rush to get to the promise. Let him hold you, because he's the one that gave you that word. So at every point, allow him journey with you, even if it's going to take years or months.
Thank you. It's been beautiful so far over here, and I hope that you are also enjoying the conversation so far. So right about now, we'll be taking a 15 seconds break, and by the time we're back, we'll have our second speaker who's going to be a blessing to us today. Thank you. Welcome, welcome once again. It's the launch of Eniobanke, crowned in waiting, completing him. Just before we get on to the next conversations, I would like you to know, with great joy that you can start purchasing the book on our seller website. You would find the details in the comment section below as well. Now, moving on with our conversation, joining us right here, we have someone who is no stranger to purpose, one who is well affiliated with the conversation of process and identity, is a pastor, is a teacher, and a mentor whose words always hit deep.
Oh.
Ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, in the comment section, I want you to give a round of applause for Pastor Gabriel Evergreen.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
You're
for
welcome,
having me.
sir. It's so good to have you here with us.
Likewise. Thank you.
Okay, so just to kickstart the conversation with you, we're here for this book launch in your bank. So when you first heard that Anu Show was launching this book, just looking at or the idea behind the book, what did you sense? What did you feel about the book, Crowned in Waiting, Completing Him?
All right. Okay. Thank you once again, and I want to say big congratulations to Anu.
Thank you, sir.
I was so proud actually when I first heard about it. No other person. There are a few people who understands the waiting period, and I feel Anu is one of the few people. So there's no other person that I would have had confidence in to write that book other than Anu, because the book in itself, it goes beyond our personal journey. It's a detail on what we need to do and how well we need to wait. Waiting is something that is missing in a lot of people's process today, and you can find that gap when they go out to start manifesting and expressing that they didn't truly wait on God to get the full picture, and when they start running, you see a lot of loopholes. So the book in itself is a manual. Let me put it that way. It's a manual for us on what we need to do when we are waiting, and how we know a waiting season is over. So it's a beautiful write-up.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Okay, so just talking about, I know that you're familiar with the conversations around identity. What do you think so many people struggle with when it comes to their identity during waiting seasons?
A lot of people struggle. In fact, I've had my share of struggle. One of the things that kills identity when it comes to waiting period is comparison. Comparison. Like comparison, it steals a lot. Because in the world where we are right now, where information is at the tip of your fingers, you can see what someone is doing, then you start comparing. I've been here before this person. Why am I still here? Now, when you start comparing, you are now calling the person's identity your own identity, forgetting who God has designed you to be. Now, when you start denying the reality of who God has designed you to be, you are moving out of your waiting season already. You see, the moment you start comparing in the waiting season, you're already out of the waiting season already. And if the mercy of God is not involved, you might have to start that waiting season again. Because God, you need to first of all reorientate your mind on who you are. So that misconception of comparing yourself with another person, it kills waiting season. It sends you back. It's like the children of Israel. They were waiting on God for the land they will enter. Do you know they were comparing themselves with the nations that they were meeting? Oh, they were giants. We can't conquer them. We can't do this thing. Those generations did not enter the promised land. It is only those who believed. So, if you don't believe in your identity during waiting, there's doubt that you might not actually enter the promised land.
Wow. Talking about belief and having faith during your waiting season, what are practical steps or principles that helps one to stay grounded in their faith or in their beliefs, when the process feels too long or it's dragging too much or too painful? Let's put it that way.
I'll give you examples. Number one, for myself, which is also actually very relating to Anu and our process, because I've been privileged to be part of, the whole season. One of it is reminding yourself what God says. You see, it works a lot. If you go and check the Bible, how the fathers of faith actually were able to conquer and succeed waiting season, they usually recall the promises of God. Recall those promises and have one understanding. There's something that I used to say to myself: God cannot lie. People can lie. Patricia, people can lie.
Yeah.
But you see, God,
Yeah.
the one thing,
Absolutely.
God told me something. He said, I'm not out there to impress or oppress you. So I have nothing to lose. So why would I lie? So if I tell you I'll do this, I will do it. Just wait. And he gave me another understanding. If you ask me right now, Patricia, for 20 naira, looking at me, I'm more than 20 naira. So there's no doubt. So even if I tell you that I'm coming, I'll give you 20 naira. You know for sure that I can't lie. I have what is 20 naira. So that's it. He said, think about my capacity. So recall the promises of God, the capacity of God. And one thing that will practically really, really help you, always fellowship with God. When you are far from God, you will miss the waiting season. Like spend time fellowship. At least I know that about Annie. And I know she included it in the book. Spend time with God. Just do that. It helps you. It eases the pressure. It eases the pressure. So do that. And another thing that helps very, very well, spend time with people that believe in your waiting season. Friends, mentors. They will continue to encourage you. So sometimes you'll come to media and just like, Pastor Gabriel, I'm tired. And I'll be like, it's good. It's a sign that you're waiting. If you're not tired, I'm suspecting you. You're a suspect.
Something has shifted.
Yeah, something has shifted. You already have a suspect.
B.
Yeah, there's plan B. Exactly. So what we need to do is spend time with those people. We should have a company that we run to, that we talk to, people that will encourage us and tell us. Sometimes she will tell me that I said like, no, you're thinking small. Are you trying to plan for God? No. Do what God is saying. So those three things: recognizing the promise of God, recognizing the capacity of God, and having the right company, people that believe in your waiting season. And the last one, like I said, spend time with God. Worship, study, prayer. It helps. Those 4 steps to help.
Absolutely. I think that all that you said, really banks on having a deep knowledge of who God is.
Yeah.
From fellowshipping to even your company, even down to, the promises of God. You need to know what or who God is. Like an understanding, even beyond just knowing, an understanding of who God is. And do you have any question for our guest?
Yes, so I want you to speak to our current generation that is moved with, like you said, there are a lot of things happening online. Everything is everywhere. You're seeing someone that is probably 20, traveling, driving a very, very nice car, and person is doing so well. I want you to speak to people like our generation specifically, people who are in waiting seasons and they feel like God has forgotten them. What can they do? Like, what can they do to stay grounded, that no matter what happens, whatever they are seeing out there, to still keep their conviction in God, that yes, God has not forgotten them?
That's a very good question. I'll give you a story to help you. So years ago, as you read in my profile, I've been mentoring since forever. And I've mentored people who have scaled different things that possibly, let me quote and unquote, I've not yet touched. They're already doing it. Do you know what that does to your mindset? Are you sure this oil is working at all? Like, sometimes you want to test things. You go and help another person. The person will get results. Yeah. And you go and try it yourself and you'll be like, God, what's going on? Like, did I miss something? I was in the waiting season, waiting on God. And funny enough, you still have friends that you will give the same principle, advice and everything. They will be bearing results. Like, I was pastoring and felt as if I was struggling. And my friend was moving from a small venue to a large venue. And they were doing things. And I wondered, like, what's going on? And to not crown it all, do you know what now happened? I failed again. Like I failed, the whole thing crashed. At that point, I ran to my company. I called my pastor till date. And we spoke. And one of the things he said, and I want you to remember, all of you that are watching, those of you here and those of you watching, he said, do you think everything is a mistake? If Joseph did not share that dream, would he have even gone into it?
True.
What you are calling is disaster is actually part of the process and plan of God. You might not like it. You might not like how God is doing it. You must, I'm telling you, one of the things that can keep you sane, talk to the people that believe in your waiting.
Yeah.
Spend time. You see, one of the things that causes that depression and pain is because you are spending time with people that are causing depression, e.g. Instagram, TikTok. You are seeing people who are doing things that possibly they did not tell you their waiting season, or possibly God was able to fast track their waiting season, and you are comparing. So what you need to do, stop spending time with the things that can give you hope. Start spending time with things that can give you faith. At that point, I'm telling you, it's not Bible reading that you need. Because as soon as you're reading the Bible, it's not working. You will close the Bible, just be like, so I had to talk to my pastor. And he told me, nothing is a mistake. You're not waiting in vain. I believe in the grace you carry. These are people that brought me back to life. And I'm telling you, if I didn't have that conversation, and as you see, at that point, that's not the time where God will be speaking to you and say, oh, I heard God. Trust me, at that point, you can't hear God. Elijah was depressed. He didn't hear anything. It took 40 days walk. You know, when you stroll for 40 days, you strolled for 40 days in order to calm your mind down before you started hearing God again. At that point, find those who believe in you. When the apostles too were going through difficulty, it looks as if everything was, they ran to their company. So who are you spending time with?
Who are you spending time with?
Yeah.
Wow. As you said, answer this question yourself. Who are you spending time with? And I think one thing, I mean, when he was talking, I just remembered like a course, I think Anu can relate to that, you know, leadership company, and how there are different people that God will place in your life for different seasons, you know, understanding what their roles are, you know, at different points in time. And from what he just said, I think one thing that stood out for me is the fact that it's very true, and something that I've thought about before as well. A lot of people do not share their waiting seasons publicly. So it's easy for another person to think that it was so easy for the other person, and that is how comparison starts, to be honest. You know, you think that, okay, this person just, for example, your friend who was doing better, you know, with a church or whatever, was doing better. It might have gone through a different kind of process. It may not have looked as long as yours was, or maybe as, but it would have felt painful to him in some type of way. But it did not seem that way because probably did not talk about it. It did not share it. So understand that, you know, there's someone that I respect so much. He says that focus more on the process than just jumping into the results. So understand that if you're going to get good results with God, you have to go through your process. You and God, your process. So it's been so good, you know, having you guys on. Do you guys have any final words, you know, from Anu as well as Pastor Evergreen? Do you have any final words, you know, talking about the waiting season, talking about identity, obedience, you know, during one's waiting season? Anu?
Okay, so for me, I would say your walk with God is personal. It's more than the Sunday, oh, you're coming to church, you're serving in church. It's a personal relationship. It's a personal walk with God. Because you can only hear God that, oh, what is God saying concerning my life? Fine, your pastor might give you something that this is what God is saying, but you need to know God for yourself. When you know God for yourself, you find He has the blueprint of your life in it. So even when there are times where you might have to compare yourself with other people, like PJ has also said, you need to tune out what is probably distracting you. So when you find your purpose, when you know what God is actually saying concerning your life, there will be no need to compare. Even when you are seeing it out there, you'll be like, oh, my time is coming. I'm probably not at that point where God wants me to be. And most times it's not your village people. It might just be that God is taking you of work, like a process. Some of us might say, no, every principalities from my father's house, from my mother's house. While we have that, sometimes like Joseph went through his own prison to palace season. So most of the time it might just be that everything is working out for your good. Yes, so that's what I have to say.
Thank you, Pastor Gabriel.
Okay. Thank you for that. And I think I'll check before. Everything just closed up. There was another pastor in that city who was doing well. I would say he was one of the biggest names in that city. So I had the privilege to meet up with him. So we're talking. Man, beautiful and big ministry. He said people see him today and celebrate what he has. He said, do you know everything that you see is just 2 years? I said 2 years. But you have been? He said yes. I've been here for more than 9 years. No, I was waiting for 9 years. Scratch that. 9 years. He said he has done everything, tried everything. He said, but one day he heard from God. He said, right now from today, everything you do, it will work. That waiting season, it's important. James chapter 1, verse 2 to 4 made something very, very clear. When we are going through trials, we should count it all joy. Because when we go through those trials are to perfect us. That at the end of the day, when God is trying to show us forth, we will not lack anything. Wait on God. It's not for his own good, it's for your own good.
Yeah.
So that's my word for you.
Oh, thank you so much. I mean, it's such a delight to have these conversations with you. Knowing that, as Anu had said, we're in a generation whereby it seems like if things don't look so good, probably you are not serving God so well, or aligned, basically. But we need to understand that, there are different seasons in life, times where, I mean, there's a part of the Bible that says that who the Father loves, he chastises, So Eniobanke, I believe, it sounds very sweet to say Eniobanke, as in I'm being pampered. But before you get to that pampering that looks so good to the public, you need to go through your process. And it's been so great. You guys have shared gems just speaking, within these few minutes. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for all that has been said. Thank you, Pastor Gabriel. Thank you, Anuoluwapo. So right about now, we're going to be moving on to the official launch of our book, Eniobanke, and to be doing that, we'll be having no other than our author, Anuoluwapo Somoye. So before we officially launch, countdown to the launch, I would like you to just speak about the book, what people need to expect from the book, what are gems, key things that they need to look out for from this gold mine.
Okay. So Eniobanke is a very, very small pocket-sized book, and within 1 or 2 hours you'll be done with the book. So the book is divided into 3 parts. So the first part has the shift. I really spoke about my season of waiting. Then the second part talks about the eagle season, what an eaglet went through before the eaglet became an eagle, right? Then the last part is more of declarations and affirmations for you to always remember God's promises even when you're in that season. So this book is for everyone who is in a waiting season, or you feel that you need to gift somebody this book, somebody who is probably in a waiting season. It's a must read, and you can always get it right in the chat box. It will be displayed there. The link to get it will be displayed there. There's also an ebook copy, so you can get it from any part of the world by just downloading, or you can also follow me on Instagram at Anusho's Delight or Books by Anusho for more information. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so right about now we're going to be counting down, or do we spell? We count down
Okay.
to the launch of Eniobanke. So we're counting down from 3. We ready?
Yeah.
In 3, 2, 1. We launch Eniobanke. Yay! Congratulations, Anusho. Thank you so much, guys,
Yes.
for joining so far. I mean, we did this briefly, but we hope that you got so much. We hope that you learned so much from the stories. You could also send a DM to Anusho or Shows Delight, on Instagram, or Books by Anusho's Delight. Okay, so please send us questions, whatever questions, whatever comments you have regarding this book, and please make a purchase.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank
Signing
you.
out, I'm Patricia Adekoya, and we have Pastor Gabriel and Anusho. Thank you. Do enjoy the rest of your day.